Hello, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk Football. My name is John Halpin, alongside my brother Chris Palmer. How you doing today, my brother?
Doing good, man. This may have been one of the most exciting wildcard weekends I've ever watched.
Absolutely, bro. This may have been like the best wild card weekend, at least I can remember. But we had a lot of great games this week, and a lot of eventful things that happened following the wild card weekend. But we'll get into that too. But Chris Palmer, are you ready to recap wild card weekend?
Oh yeah, dude, let's get it.
Okay, let's get it. Let's start in Carolina, where the Panthers gave the Rams a run for their money in an absolute thriller. Rams won 34-31, but man, the Panthers, they looked good in that game.
One play, and we would be having a different conversation, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Had that ball not been underthrown, had it been thrown, tucked in the pocket, it would have been a catch, timeout. They were in field goal range with that catch. It would have at the very least gone to overtime. I think if they went to overtime, they could have very well stolen that game. I'm going to put that one right there.
I don't disagree with you, man, because look, the Panthers this game looked like what we expected it to be at first, right? Where the Rams were just going to run away with it. However, to me, there was one pivotal point in the game where early on it was 17-7 and the Rams were in field goal range for the Panthers, and they went for it on a 4th and 3 and did not make it. And the Panthers went down the field and scored. That 4th down stop brought so much life to Carolina. It changed the game. And then now they're going into halftime 17-14 and saying, we can do this. We could absolutely do this. And man, I know LA, they really had to dig into their playbook, into their bag of tricks to really pull out this one. Again, Puka Nacua and Matt Stafford, amazing players, and they're just so hard to stop. But man, I got to say, this may have been Bryce Young's best game as an NFL starter, because he looked great. Despite the first half turnover, the rest of the game, he was phenomenal. We were talking Panthers. Let me ask, what did you think of Bryce Young in this game?
I think he did exactly what he needed to do, and he stepped up and he played against one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He earned himself probably the continuation of his rookie deal without being traded, and then his 5th-year option when it is up as a Carolina Panther with that one game. I agree with you, it was probably his best game after the first quarter. I still have my reservations about him when it comes to consistency. This was his best game. I need to see what he brings every game before I can say he is that good. If he can bring that multiple games, your entire outlook will be changed.
Absolutely. And that's what's kind of been the difference between him and Caleb, right? Caleb has shown that growth of a first overall draft pick this year. And for us this is Bryce's 3rd year, and it took for his 3rd year for us to see the best out of him. For year 4, again, I want to see that consistency. Because if he's able to play like this throughout a whole season, oh man, we got to be on Panther watch at that point.
Well, I'm going to go into this year on Panther watch like I went into Panther watch last year. I'm keeping a close eye on them with the idea that I think, again, at the end of the day, Bryce Young is the shortcoming of this team. This team is ready to win. They need to re-sign Rico Dowdle and keep that 2-headed monster of a run game. Xavier Legette is a great wide receiver. That other rookie that they got this year is a great secondary wide receiver. Hell yeah. Unfortunately, they lost J.C. Horn on defense in that game. He was out after the beginning of the second quarter, and that opened a huge hole in that defense. He's such a huge component as a young player. But once that was open, Matt Stafford just took over the secondary, but they kept in it offensively. So were that not to happen, who knows? Maybe, again, it could be a different conversation. Things happen. You lose a game, you got to move on. I'm keeping a close eye on them again next year.
You and me both, brother. It's been an interesting year for the Panthers, and if we could see them emerge and become the team that they demonstrated on Saturday, man, the NFC is going to be put on notice.
They're going to be fun to watch for years to come. You watch.
I would like to see that, absolutely. But that was just the first game of Wild Card Weekend. We had another fantastic game on Saturday against the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. And this was a roller coaster of a game, especially for Bears fans. Packers took the lead 21-3 at halftime, and the Bears made the fucking comeback and beat the Packers 31-24. Man, two missed field goals and a missed PAT by Green Bay. You leave a lot of points on the board, and Chicago was just able to just climb their way out as the game went on. And it's weird because earlier this year, Caleb was great on script in the first quarter. Now he's great off script in the fourth quarter. Who would have thought?
The growth of him with Ben Johnson is unbelievable. My hat's off to the way Ben Johnson has pulled the best out of this kid. Mm-hmm. I have my critiques as to who he is. I said I was going to go into this blindly as an athlete. I wanted to see him grow as a player. As a person, maturity-wise, I think he's a punk. I said that earlier on. We'll hold that. I still think he's a punk, but he's fucking grown in so many ways on this field because of Ben Johnson. Them two are a fantastic duo. I hope he continues to grow. The way he has this fourth quarter structured with this offense just to keep it moving and you just put points on the board and win time and time again is fantastic. Ben Johnson, you should really be a candidate for Coach of the Year with what you've done with this Chicago team.
Yeah, Ben Johnson, again, I wouldn't be surprised if he won Coach of the Year, right? Because of just the turnaround from last year's Bears to this year's Bears. And it's funny, too, because I remember asking you, I think it was like in the offseason, it's like, or no, by like week 3 or so, I was like, are you going to be picking the Bears at all? You're just going to pick them to lose? And you're like, we'll see. Boom. 11 wins later. Holy crap.
Right. I think that was around week 2 or 3. They were pretty middle of the road at the time, but it was like.
Well, they started 0-2.
You're right.
And then they went 2-2.
Then they went 2-2. And then once they went 2-2, it looked like they were on the same page and they were just off to the races from there. So again, good on them for getting on the same page early and staying there at full speed while staying healthy. DeAndre Swift is an ace in the hole on that team.
He really is. He's such an unsung hero on this team. But, man, this Bears team, it's great to see their talent proliferate and showcase their skills. And I gotta give a lot of credit to Caleb Williams, especially on that 4th and 8 in the fourth quarter. And he rolls out to his left and he throws a fantastic pass right to his receiver that only his receiver can catch. And I'm like, that's a throw you see fucking Aaron Rodgers make fucking in 2011.
Right.
That is a special throw. And I don't want to say Caleb is a special player. Man, under Ben Johnson, to be able to refine his talent as a quarterback is great, because we've seen it before where there's been plenty of quarterbacks or just players in general who have the talent, but they don't have a leader to show them how they're able to utilize their skills. And like you said before, Ben Johnson was able to bring out the best in not only him, but the rest of the Bears. But I will say it's going to be great to see the Bears and Packers for the next couple of years, because Ben Johnson,
it's gonna be fun to watch.
They hate each other. They fucking hate each other.
Fucking stand each other, and it's great.
I love it.
They fucking can't stand each other, and it's great. And they do it simply out of the name of the rivalry. And it's like, good on you, the both of you. Neither of you are going anywhere.
It's not even like the Bears-Packers rivalry. It's literally like them personally. They don't like each other, which is just
they just stay away from each other, and it's crazy.
So it's great to see Chicago reigniting themselves in the NFL and reigniting a fierce rivalry between the oldest rivalry in NFL history. It's going to be great to see for years to come. The Bears move on to the divisional round, and they will be hosting another game next week. Let's move to Sunday's slate of games, because we had some good ones on Sunday, very interesting ones, especially Sunday in the afternoon, the Buffalo Bills against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we talked this game last week with Mikey. And again, all the reasons that the Jags they should have been favored and they were good, But man, the Bills coming out with the win 27-24. Jags stuck around, man, and they had time to either tie the game or win the game at the end. They had a minute left with two timeouts. Trevor Lawrence had the ball. First play picked immediately and just killed any hope that they had. But this was a great game to watch. A great chess match between Sean McDermott and Liam Cohen, who was also in running for Coach of the Year as well.
Liam Cohen has developed into a great coach too. He's helped elevate that Jaguars team. Hats off to him as well. There was a bunch of really good coaching this year.
But CP, what were your thoughts on this Bills Jags game?
I loved it. I loved watching again the best come out of the Jags. This was the year that we both said it, that this was the year that Trevor Lawrence needed to prove something.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Lawrence was one of those quarterbacks where it was he came in with a label and he never had a coach up until now. So, and it took a little while for him and the coach to get on the same page, and here they are. I want to see another full season and see what happens. I want to see it, especially with Travis Hunter coming back next year. Hopefully, Travis Hunter has the idea to make a decision on what side of the ball he wants to play. In my opinion, if he wants to play both sides of the ball again, that's his decision to make. But I hope he makes one and stays on one side of the ball.
I don't disagree with your points. It's crazy to think, though, that the Jags didn't need Travis Hunter to be this successful towards the back end of the season, winning five games in a row, averaging 34 points a game. And they did it with Parker Washington. I have no idea who that is, but he was making plays.
When you're in on the message, it doesn't matter who you are. We are the Jaguars. That's what it is.
And they hats off to one of the Jacksonville reporters who really encouraged Liam Cohen after that loss and said, keep your head up. You guys had a very successful year. Can't wait to get back at it. That's what they needed to hear. That's especially what Liam Cohen needed to hear in that moment, because I fully expect this Jags team to be back next year in contention.
Yeah, I saw that, and I thought it was an awesome clip to watch. Apparently, that reporter started getting, really a bunch of shade thrown at her, saying that it was unprofessional, it was this, it was that. People not understanding that she was a Jacksonville reporter who lives in South Jacksonville, so she is known in the community for reporting on Jaguars games. And again, it was a very heartfelt message to the Jaguars head coach to keep your head up. You made it here. You can make it here again. So I personally, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a great interaction between media and coach.
Yeah, I thought that was absolutely fantastic. So, I mean, again, I fully expect the Jags to be back next year in contention. But, man, I do want to say, should we just officially give Josh Allen the nickname Superman? Because it seems like every time I'm hearing any analyst or anything like that, everyone makes the Superman analogy. Should we just call him that? Officially give him that nickname?
I mean, I guess, because it's at what point the only time that this team is going to break is when he breaks. Mm-hmm. And people have yet to figure out what will break him. He just won't. He just doesn't stop.
He doesn't, bro. He's one of those guys where the Bills are one of those teams where they can really only win one way, and that's just Josh Allen being fantastic. They have to score at least 20 points. They gotta put themselves in a position to win the game late, and they're just trusting Josh Allen to do it. And he's just that good that he's doing it, and brought the Bills their first road playoff win since 1992, which is crazy to think about. But with that, Bills move on to Divisional Round, and we got a great matchup between them and the Denver Broncos. That's going to be a great, great matchup.
That is going to be a matchup.
Believe me, and we're going to talk it. Let's move to the second game on Sunday, and that was the 49ers and the Eagles. And this one was a little bit different than the other ones. This was a little bit more uglier than the other ones. It was one of those games where it was a defensive game, but ultimately at the end, Philly's offensive ineptitude caught up to them at the very end.
Yeah, 100%. The shortcomings on offense that have been happening all year showed face again in front of a team that is really walking on crutches, but the key return was Fred Warner. He was He was talking about returning maybe deeper in the year if they were to make it further. Then he was pushing to come back. And then the day before the game, he was like, guess what, guys? I'm cleared. I'll be there tomorrow. And he showed up and he made the final play in the fourth quarter. He made the biggest play of the game that won them the game. So he was right up in the goal line. He was right. He was like 4 yards up and he jumped. He was the one who tipped the ball.
Yeah, it was a weird play call for Philly at the very end when they're down 4. They can only score a touchdown. And they bring out Dave Patullo, or is it Nick Patullo? Dave Patullo, I think. And their offensive coordinator. And it's him, Sirianni, and Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts, Patullo gives Hurts the call. Hurts looks at Sirianni and is like, are you serious? You're signing off on this? And then as soon as he put on his helmet, he knew that his season was over because that play design was atrocious. You're throwing right into the middle of the field into triple coverage. It's just 4 verticals. And you ran the same play 4 times on the same drive. No surprise that this week Eagles got rid of Patullo as their OC.
Well, it's no surprise that this year was probably the last year that Nick Sirianni has any say in who comes in as an offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. Their offense suffered this year. Their offense absolutely suffered when it shouldn't have.
Yeah, they regressed so bad from the year prior to this year. From the Super Bowl year to this year, they regressed immensely. And obviously getting an OC, that's a top priority for the Eagles. Because during that game, the San Francisco 49ers ran a double wheel route into a wide receiver, passing for a touchdown. And the creativity on that play was just fantastic. And probably Eagles players were like, wait, you could do that? Shit.
Well, they know they could do it. It's just no longer in the playbook. Mm-hmm. You know, they know that they can run plays like that and succeed because they did it the year prior and it won them a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. You know, but that was with a different offensive coordinator who had problems with Nick Sirianni, so he left.
And now he's coaching the Saints.
And here we are. And they won 6 of their last 7 or something like that at the end of it.
I think 5 of their last 6 or something like that. Something like that.
Right.
But yeah, the Saints.
And ended on a 4-game win streak as soon as Mr. Show came in.
Kellen Moore and Shug. I love it. But again, Kellen Moore's presence with the Eagles mattered immensely because, again, they looked completely different from 2024 and 2025. They looked very, very different.
You could say the same thing about the Lions, almost like the aggression of the Lions transferred to the Bears with the transferring of Ben Johnson.
Absolutely. And we said it before, coordinators matter. The OC and the DC, they matter because that's how your team is going to look on either side of the ball. Like you just said it perfectly, right? With Ben Johnson leaving, the Lions lost a little bit of their grit, a little bit of their strength, and they just did not look the same. As did the Eagles. But the 49ers beating the Eagles means that the 49ers have the privilege to go to Seattle to play Sam Darnold and the Seahawks in Seattle for the 3rd time this year.
Crazy. We have an opportunity for 3 three-peats this playoff season.
It is playoff football at its best. So that should be a great matchup to look forward to next week. Let's move to New England, where the final game on Sunday concluded with the Chargers and the Patriots. And again, this one was a little different than the other ones. But ultimately, the Patriots won 16-3. But man, that defense just completely dismantled Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
Yeah, dismantling is an understatement. They made that offensive line look like children. They were in Justin Herbert's face all day. There was nothing he could do. But that was the main issue of them, other than not having a 2-minute game all year, was Justin Herbert was running for his life. Mm-hmm. Sacked the most out of anybody this year.
Yeah. And it's weird, too, because the Patriots, their greatest weakness is their pass rush. They don't get a lot of sacks. So I think that that's more of an indictment on the Chargers' offensive line, that they're just so bad that even a team that struggles to get sacks got 6 sacks on Justin Herbert. And obviously the absence of Joe Alt matters, but man, they gotta beef up that line, man. They have to.
Yeah, Joe Alt's only one person.
Exactly. You can't clone Joe Alt. They haven't perfected cloning like that.
No, and Joe Alt can't fight an entire defensive line.
Man, I feel for Justin Herbert, man. I don't know how you feel for Herbert, but he to just not get a playoff win and each loss he has not looked good and the team hasn't looked good. I don't know. What do you think of the Chargers and their just lack of success in the playoffs?
I don't know, man. It's lack of success in the playoffs seems to run through the AFC pretty heavy. That's the you know they've lost a
Yeah.
couple straight now, but so have we. That's not an easy answer to me.
Well, maybe this is the perfect segue to go into the Monday night game where we had the Houston Texans absolutely dismantle the Steelers 36. It was 7-6 going into the fourth quarter, and then the defense said, we will take this ball and we will score twice." CP, I'll just let you take it away. What were your thoughts on this game?
There are just no words. It was by far one. It was just I saw a couple of run plays, and then I watched the run game disappear, and then I watched Aaron Rodgers start forcing the ball down the field. It was just an all around terrible performance. I watched our defense get flattened all game. We just got undressed all game, and then I watched Chris Boswell go for another field goal and miss. He missed,
Mm-hmm.
but this is now the seventh straight playoff loss, the sixth straight playoff loss where we've lost by 21 or more. Of that six, I believe five, we haven't scored a touchdown in the entire game. Of those five, I believe it's at least four where we haven't scored a touchdown in at least the first quarter. We've been outscored by almost triple digits in the playoffs in the last 7 years. Something needed to change.
And something did change with the Steelers.
Yes.
Tell the good folks what happened.
Probably one of this is something that I was talking about probably since last year, was Mike Tomlin had stepped down as head coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is, as far as some articles I read today, he is not interested in coaching in 2026. So with him stepping down, he either needs to step away from the franchise or the Steelers need to trade him somewhere. The Steelers are officially going into a new era of coaching. As to who it is, that still remains to be seen. But this is the quote-unquote healthy divorce that I was more so anticipating happening. Like a couple of weeks ago when you and I were talking about how Harbaugh was more fireable than Mike Tomlin. While both are replaceable, one is more fireable than the other.
Mm-hmm.
This is the unfortunate circumstance that I was more leaning towards, where Harbaugh was unfortunately fired and they left it in Tomlin's court to step down. The Rooneys do not fire coaches. It's that you can walk yourself out. Leave the keys on the door. Thank you, Mike Tomlin, for the 18 seasons of an unbelievable message. At the end of last year, I saw that you have officially lost the locker room. That does not say that you can't grab another one that has been looking for a message elsewhere. I hope that you continue to coach. If not, you need to do not a thing more in my mind that makes me think you're a Hall of Fame coach. If you become an analyst, I will love to hear you on a panel. I would love to see you personally with Greg Olson and maybe Jason Kelsey together. Maybe one day have you sit with Tom Brady and have you two talk.
Oh man,
I think that would be an unbelievable conversation. But again, just thank you, Mike Tomlin, and here comes the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's crazy too to think that, again, we've talked about it countless times with the Ravens and Steelers. They're mirrors of one another, and the fact that both of these teams are undergoing huge coaching changes from coaches that have had the two longest tenures active in the league in the same offseason is crazy to think about. It's
a game apart from each other.
A game apart from each other, and there's a lot of different contexts, for both of them though. But ultimately, the vacancies are still there. Both ownership groups want to fill that vacancy with a coach for a long period of time. They're not looking to flip flop coaches. They want to keep look, we're going to hire you, and you're going to be here for 10 to 15 years at least.
Right, you're going to be here for a while, but you need to show us something.
Absolutely. And I know the Ravens have been doing the interview process. I can only imagine that the Steelers have begun their interviewing process. And I'm very curious to see what this new era of Ravens Steelers looks like, because at least for as long as I've been a fan, I've only known John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin.
I've
And
only known Mike Tomlin since I started really like focusing and understanding the game. You know, Bill Cowher was my time of watching football, but back then it was just watching the uniforms go, not knowing who players are, or coaches, or any type of diving into the sport like we have in the past years. I've only known Tomlin since I'm understanding and focusing on the game. So it's uncharted waters for the both of us, and it's interesting to watch. And it's quite ironic that you're wearing white and I'm wearing black.
This was unplanned too. It was just so
I
great.
just noticed it as we're talking about it. I'm like, wow.
Yin and yang, baby. I love it.
I love it.
I will say, too, if you would have told either one of us that this was the year that both Harbaugh and Tomlin, this is their last year coaching their respective teams, I wouldn't have believed it. I would have probably believed one, not necessarily both. And again, a lot of that was kind of riding on that Week 18 game, but also just the context of leading up to that Week 18 game. I think a lot of outside pressure, a lot outside media noise just got to the organizations where it's like, look, it is time, and we've seen it before. It's like they're both moving on for different reasons, but ultimately the same goal, which is to win Super Bowls. And they're going to take different paths, right? At Ravens, we already have that roster. We just need a coach, and we're looking to just kind of have someone lead Lamar and the group, because again, this is just, the talent is there, but they just need a leader. Whereas the Steelers roster, again, the most expensive defense in the league, you got some holes on the roster offensively, especially if Rodgers is going to be walking away too. Quarterback is a big decision. So Steelers might have a little bit of a detour. But as we've said, even before the season started, a rebuild is necessary. It's not the worst thing. And if they just take, say, a year, just 1 year, where it's like, it's not going to be pretty, but with that year, they're able to reignite the team and reinvent them to whoever this new coach's vision for the team is. I think that would be rewarding for both teams.
Yeah, no, I agree. But when it comes to our future, like I saw today, Adam Thielen is officially retired. He's done.
Oh, okay.
So that's one hole we officially have to fill. Not only do we have the problem with us having the most expensive defense, is that's only scattered across like 4 players.
Yep.
A lot of other players are on their rookie deal. That's scattered between Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, and Jalen Ramsey, and Asante Samuel Jr. That's it. Everyone else is on a rookie deal. But it's the younger guys who are not being paid much who are putting more output, save for Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward was an absolute animal this year. He had 95% of the interior tackles for our defense this year.
Yeah, he was a unit this year.
He was an absolute monster this year. He cannot do it alone. This is going into his, I believe, his 16th year.
It's just crazy.
If he plays one more year, it's going to be absolutely out of this world to play 17 years as a nose tackle.
God bless Cam Hayward, man. I mean, to me, in my book, he's a Hall of Famer. Maybe not first ballot, but definitely Hall of Fame Steeler.
If he was to get Defensive Player of the Year, I would probably give him a first ballot.
I can see that, yeah.
Like, give him one more of those, I would give him a first ballot.
I think the Steelers should consider trading TJ Watt. I think that despite his contract being very, very hefty, and not every team can do it, I think that if they are to enter a new regime, I think acquiring the draft capital to do so, I think that would really help them in the long term. Not saying that, it's right or wrong either way, but that's just my opinion on it. I think that you want to give your head coach full dictation, or if not full dictation, but majority of dictation of the roster. And not saying that any coach wouldn't want TJ Watt, despite him, again, not putting up the stats as he did this year. But if a team's willing to pay, like a contending team, like say a Buffalo or a Detroit, that is willing to try to add a pass rush, I think that is at least worth the phone call for them to consider.
Unfortunately, I think that is a year too late. I think trading him, no, not that he has no trade clause, is that his contract is way too much for anybody to even want to entertain.
Mm-hmm.
Had it been before the contract signing, he would have been worth 2 first-round picks. Simply put.
With the contract, it's not first-round picks, though.
No way. It's mid-second round at best, and it's one of them. And we have to eat more than half the contract. That's the only way.
Isn't too bad. Like a second-round pick isn't too bad. Obviously, first-round picks more valuable, but
I'm talking like the weight of a year. That's what I'm talking about. Look at the weight of a year. Had it been a year prior, we would have gotten 2 first-round picks for him. And at that point, I was calling every analyst crazy for saying that. Coward was saying it. He was like, that is exactly what this Pittsburgh Steelers should do. They should trade him for fucking 2 first-round picks right now before he gets expensive. I'm not saying they should have back then. Hindsight being 2020, with the production that he put out this year and how expensive he really is, and if he's unwilling to do a rework, I wouldn't be against watching them trade him, but they would have to eat a lot of that to the point where it would just be worth to keep him and see if the new regime of coaching revives his desire to play.
Yeah, it'll be, again, very interesting to see what Omar Khan and the Rooneys decide, not only for their head coaching vacancy, but also what to do with the rest of this roster as well. Because, again, there's talent on the Steelers, and Tomlin was able to get the best out of all that talent there. But, again, the rebuild is pretty much here at this point. And we talked about it before, but it's here. Before we move on to the divisional round, one last thing I do want to at least bring up is that Steelers game may have been Aaron Rodgers' last game of his career. Potentially. That could have been the last we have seen of Aaron Rodgers. You think that was his last game, or you think he's going to do a once more around the sun?
I don't think so. He did everything he could this year as a 42-year-old in a league full of college students. Nothing short of what he did. 3,300 yards, 27 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. He went 7 games without an interception with a really thrown together wide receiver room. That's really not the most heard of thing in Pittsburgh. Usually we have a bunch of really good skill guys. We have one really good expensive skill guy that was hurt a lot this year with DK Metcalf. He was hurt quite a few games this year where he didn't play either the full game. He was in and out. He had limited time. So he did everything he could. He was the least of our issues. He was not the reason why we fell short this year. I think he takes his season and he walks off into the sunset. He is another one who has nothing more to prove. You have nothing more to prove.
Mm-hmm. You talking about DK and Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers should just take...
Okay.
Yeah, take it and go into retirement. Just go. You have nothing more to prove. You're a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I think realistically, maybe Aaron Rodgers knew that this was going to be it. And he's like, look, if I'm going to do one more year, I at least want to play for a coach that I want. And even the Rooneys said that Aaron Rodgers came because he wanted to play under Mike Tomlin. And I'm sure Tomlin leaving is going to affect his decision. And I think you're right. I think he's going to retire as well. For me, I think he just did not really want to end on such a sour note of the Jets in that season last year. And to at least be like, okay, get a couple wins, prove that I still got it at 42, and just, again, really respectable numbers. 3,300 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's a solid year. And I think that no matter how the season ended, he's still a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's still going to have a legacy to him. It's just a shame that it ended. The final game for Aaron Rodgers was one of his worst games that he's ever played. And we've seen that from some quarterbacks where their final game is their worst game. But this one was really bad. But I got to give my hats off to the Texans defense, man. They were just ferocious all night. And there's only so much Aaron Rodgers could do. But like you said before, throughout the season, he was not the problem. In fact, he played better than most people expected. The inconsistencies on those the defense, allowed teams to just move up and down the field.
Lackluster offensive line. an inconsistent run game,
That was on full display on
a
Monday, too.
thrown together wide receiver room, a secondary that is presumably burnt toast with Jalen Ramsey. It's just everything. It was more than just him on the field that was an issue.
Yeah, exactly. It just all fell apart in dramatic fashion in that fourth quarter against the Texans, because it was a tight game. Like, the Steelers were not getting outscored until that fourth quarter. And then the defense was able to score twice. Once off a fumble from or Will Anderson fumbling Aaron Rodgers for Sheldon Rankins to pick it up and then run it in. And then also the pick six that Aaron Rodgers threw.
Right.
And again, all credit to the Texans defense. They're the best in the league this year, and hats off to them. But man, they're so good that they get pressure with 4. For the Steelers, they were only pressuring with 4. So it's a tall order because they're good pass rushers. But man, for Aaron Rodgers, to protect Aaron, like, you got to protect him, man. And it was just hard to watch. But again, his legacy is still going to be, he's Aaron Rodgers. And him and Tomlin are just going to be, they're going to have such a great legacy to their names that despite how it ends, everyone's still going to remember them fondly.
Correct. The moment that this game ended for the both of them will not be the reason why they're remembered for this league.
Oh yeah, and they both have a great history. It's a shame that we only just saw 1 year with these guys. I would have liked to have seen them maybe a couple years ago. This would have been cool. But thank you, Aaron Rodgers, for all that you've done, and thank you, Mike Tomlin, for all that you've done over the years.
Potentially, thank you, Aaron Rodgers, because remember, that man hides in the shadows for 30 days and then he'll come out and want to play football again.
Well, I mean, he was doing ayahuasca in Peru, and yet somehow came out of a darkness retreat saying, you know what I want to do? I want to play for the Jets.
Right. Something told him to play for the Jets, and then he snapped his Achilles in half. So maybe the ayahuasca wasn't the plan.
Maybe just stick to DMT.
Maybe just stick to doing dabs, and then you'll get your mind right, and you'll go to Pittsburgh. And then you're going to go on another darkness retreat. You're going to wind up somewhere. You're going to wind up in Vegas and play under Tom Brady.
God. No, he's got to go to Minnesota and complete the Brett Favre arc. God. That's it.
Dude, if he goes, can you please bring Randall Cobb?
I'd fucking die. Here we go again.
My God, thank you, Aaron Rodgers, for all the memories.
And all the memes, too. All the memes. Oh, shit. But CP, that was last week. We have so much to look forward to this upcoming divisional round. So, CP, you ready to talk some games this upcoming week? We got 4 of them.
Yeah, man, it's wrapping up rather nice. And I'll tell you, to me, it's getting clearer and clearer who I think is going to be at the big game.
I'm curious to see who you think, but let's start on Saturday with probably one of the most exciting games this weekend. The Buffalo Bills coming to Denver to play the Broncos. What a game this is going to be. CP, just start us off. Well, give me your thoughts on this one.
I love this matchup. Mm-hmm. If there was ever a test for Superman to have, it was against this defense. The one shortcoming that team has, as it always has been, they rise and fall with him. Their on-field issue, that offensive line, it does not stack up to the pursuit that Denver Broncos defense has. On the flip side, that Denver Broncos secondary can very easily get burned by Josh Allen extending a play and throwing it downfield. It can just happen. And then you have James Cook, who's ready, because that Broncos run defense isn't the greatest. They're great at pass rush. They're great at closing a pocket. But when it comes to zone reads, for some reason, a lot of runs get to the second level or more. And if you allow the Bills to get yards, they're going to score points. I love this game. I think it's going to be moderately scored, but I think it's going to be one of the most physical games of the entire playoff bracket.
I think you're right on that. I think that this is going to be a cold, frigid, grindy game. A great chess match between Sean McDermott and Sean Payton. I fully expect this game to be a one-possession game. And reason being is because we saw this team last year in the playoffs. This was the wild card matchup, but in Buffalo. And this Denver Broncos team is not the same as it was last year. In fact, obviously, they're so much better that they're the 1 seed. And it's great to have the Bills come to Denver because I think that they're going to challenge one another on, again, both sides of the ball for both teams. Like that Bills offense against the Broncos defense. What better tests for Superman than one of, if not the best defense in the league? Like, look, if you want to go to the Super Bowl, you got to go against this tenacious, most record-breaking Denver Broncos defense.
Let's be honest here for a second. This Denver defense is going to be put in the conversation with the 85 Chicago Bears for greatest defense of all time when it's all said and done, simply because of how often they get sacks. So, Josh Allen, you want to be Superman. This team may have some kryptonite for you.
See, and that Bills offense against that Denver defense. Now, flip it over. That Denver offense against that Buffalo defense.
I like it.
Both are the weakest part of that team, right? And I think the Bills defense, they are not a great unit. They do have their vets there. You know, they got Trey White, you got Ed Oliver there, Rousseau, familiar faces there. But they do have a weakness in giving up a lot of rush yards. That's their big Achilles heel. Denver they're an adequate rushing team. They're not the best rushing team in the league, but they can. That injury to J.K. Dobbins was huge, but, you know, R.J. Harvey, he's still a very suitable running back for the Broncos. And Bo Nix can run too. What's going to be very interesting is how the biggest X factor is going to be Bo Nix. Because if he's on his game, the Broncos could very well just run away with this game. However, if he's inconsistent even for just a quarter, that's going to allow the Bills to really be opportunistic there. And I think for Sean Payton, you'd want to run the ball and make this a very dominant time of possession game. Keep Josh Allen off the field. Take control. Because otherwise, if you're going to be in a shootout with Josh Allen, be careful what you wish for.
Right. No, I agree with that. But at the same time, you got to remember that Josh Allen can score in one hit. So if you're gonna take that time off the clock, best be sure you're putting up 6 points. Mm-hmm. Because understand, you're gonna put Josh Allen in a corner and you're gonna make him score in very little amount of time, and he can and will do it to you. So it's really gonna be organized, like sped up, almost organized chaos when it comes to the speed of the offenses. They're gonna try and get down the field and score while trying to take chunk off the clock. 4 or 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. Maybe come later in the game, you can take 7 minutes and you can really start, you know, if you can set in, you can start hammering in with the run game. Both coaches are very well prepared for this exact situation. I am very excited for this game. This could be the best game of the divisional round, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you. I was looking forward to this. I was surprised that this is the first game for the divisional round, but it's quite a treat because, again, these guys just match up so well against each other. Fun fact for the Bills, anytime they've scored over 20 points, they've won every single one of those games. Every time they haven't scored 20 points, they've lost every single one of those games. So the Bills,
have to score 20.
They have to score 20. And what that tells me is that the Broncos need to, like you were saying before, they got to capitalize on drives. You can't settle for field goals, because if you're settling for field goals, I don't disagree with the philosophy of take the points. However, if you're taking 2 drives that take you 10 minutes a pop to go down the field and you get 6 points, and takes Josh Allen to go down the field 1 minute and get a touchdown, that's hard. That's really hard on your offense to do. But they have to be up for the challenge. And again, the Broncos offense to the Bills defense, it's their weakest unit against their weakest unit, and against the Bills offense against the Broncos defense, that's the greatest team strength against the greatest team strength. So but something's got to give. And if Denver's able to sustain pressure, then it's going to be a long night for Josh Allen. Typically, what's the best way to stop any elite quarterback? Pressure with 4.
And what is Denver great at?
Pressure with 4.
4 or more.
We're going to see
all
a lot
day.
of that.
That's the problem. That's the problem with Denver, is that they're 4 or more all day, and Josh Allen is great at picking apart a blitzing linebacker and finding a hole.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
it needs to be structured. It needs to be hidden.
Yeah.
It cannot be figured out before the ball is snapped.
Mm-hmm. And like you were saying before, like if Josh Allen is extending plays, that defense has to be ready where it's like as soon as the ball snaps, you are hustling for more than the average amount of time because Josh Allen's going to buy that time and he's great at extending plays, and especially if you're going to rush with four, then it's going to
Right.
be okay. If you're going to test the coverage, he's going to find the coverage. However, he can still run. He ran for over 500 yards this year, so he's not afraid
He's
to be a
6'3",
runner. Oh, by
250.
the way, they still have the league's leading rusher this year in James Cook. He's pretty damn good too.
He's pretty unbelievable. Pretty sure he had, 1,300 yards this year?
He had James Cook had 1,600 yards this year,
1,600 yards.
so he's really damn good. But man, this is going to be a great game. I wonder if it's going to be snowing. If so, then it's going to remind me of like the old school Madden games where you just put on the snow and just have it go at it.
I can only imagine so because there's some serious cold coming.
And hey, in Mile High, that's a tall order to ask for. But home field advantage. But CP, I gotta ask you right here, right now, my friend, who you got for this one?
Welcome to the AFC Championship, Denver Broncos. I'm going Denver over the Buffalo by 3 points or less.
So it's gonna be a tight game.
It's going to be one of the tightest games of the playoffs.
Yeah. I agree with you on the score margin. I'm going Bills though. Something
It's fair
about
enough.
it, man, makes me want to just pick Superman, and it's going to be great to see. And
Listen,
it's funny too because we had this discussion of the asterisks next to if the Bills are to win it all. I think the asterisk should be probably one of the most difficult playoff runs there would be. If he
I
is
hope
to
the
beat
narrative
Broncos,
changes.
This again, if the Bills are to beat the Broncos, in my opinion, and the Bills make it to the Super Bowl and win it all, this would be one of the hardest runs by any team in the playoffs. Period.
Bar
to
none.
go through that gauntlet would be insane. Again, we'd have to see who comes out on the other side of the AFC bracket, but this is going to be a great game to decide who advances to the AFC Championship game.
Gonna be fun.
It's going to be very fun. But let's move to Seattle. Again, number 1 seed against the 6th seed. We just talked about it in the AFC. Let's talk about it in the NFC. So, Chris Palmer, I'll start with you, my friend. What are your thoughts on this one?
Fucking Sam Darnold, man. Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy putting people to fucking silence. Still showing, again, let me start with San Francisco, with Kyle Shanahan and what he's doing with that injury-ridden team, bringing them to the divisional round on crutches. Piece by piece, he's putting this team together, and they are still playing extremely well. Sam Darnold and the Seahawks are playing unbelievably. It almost feels like this is Sam Darnold's year to say, I am here to stay. I was a believer in him last year. He has made a believer of a lot of people this year.
He made a believer out of him this year.
He only has 2 more games. That's all he needs.
Well, he's 2 games to get there, 3 games to win it all.
All he has to do is get there. In my opinion, all he has to do is get there. But getting there is no easy feat.
No.
If he gets there, he's going to win one. But getting there is the hard part.
I don't know about that, too, because that depends on the matchup. There's a lot of great teams in the AFC as well. It's tough, but man, it's so great to see the Seattle team thrive. And it's funny because when we talked about Seattle, especially the last 2 years, we talked about some of their players on defense that they had. They had the pieces, right? They had a lot of great players that you see on there. Just to name a few, like some of my favorite: Boye Mafe, Michael Jackson, Quandre Diggs, Julian Love, Kobe Bryant as well. They got some really good players there. And to them to be under Mike McDonald. Mac Donald. Different than Mike McDaniel. But under Mike McDonald in Seattle, he has really ignited this Seattle team. And I think that when we talk about great coaches in this league, Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, Kyle Shanahan, we got to put Mike McDonald's name in there for what he's accomplished with this Seattle team. And again, a lot of credit goes to Sam Darnold for, again, being clutch when it needs to and just being special this year and just winning a lot of games. But Mike McDonald, he really deserves a lot more credit than people give him. And he's a defensive coordinator, former defensive coordinator for the Ravens, who has brought the best out of his team and found the quarterback that can lead them to a potential Super Bowl, which is crazy. And it's tough because you play against a familiar foe in Kyle Shanahan, who is it's not easy because he's a great head coach as well. Again, also in contention for coach of the year, just because of, like you said before, all the injuries that they had, and yet despite that still being a contending team. That deserves some acknowledgement as well. And again, San Francisco could have had the home field advantage and the bye to rest up. But that Week 18 game, Seattle really thwarted them. They played their best game defensively and shut down the 49ers, claiming this first seed. And as we saw last week, the Niners also lost a key injury in George Kittle. He's going to be out. He is
torn Achilles.
He's injured.
I saw that.
So, yep. So the 49ers could have used that bye. They really could have used that bye to get a little bit healthier into the playoffs. But Seattle earned it. And they earned it by playing this 49ers team, playing one of their best defensive games there. And if the Seahawks are going to have the defense of the Texans and the offense of the Rams, man, of course they would deserve to be in the NFC title game. They deserve to be the number one seed. And I hope that this isn't a one-time thing. I hope that we're going to see a new era of Seattle and the Seahawks. Because if 10 years ago was Legion of Boom, I mean, I'll name this one the Legion of Doom because we got Doomsday later this year. But this is the Legion of Doom.
I hope Kyle Shanahan, at least 1 year, he gets a team at full strength in the playoffs. Because to have a team... When?
It was the 2019 season with Jimmy Garoppolo. That was their healthiest that they were.
Okay, but I want to see him with a full strength team with Brock Purdy. Let me rephrase. You know what I'm saying? I want to see
when they went to the Super Bowl.
Brock Purdy lost his elbow early on when they went to the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy didn't have a Super Bowl run.
Yeah, he did. Him and the 49ers. They went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago and played against the Chiefs.
Oh, that's right. But again, he lost his elbow early on, and he was useless.
I think that was the NFC title game the year prior against Philly because he was still playing in that Super Bowl, and I don't think he was playing hurt to my recollection. But to your point, though, I mean, it would be nice to see Kyle Shanahan have a full healthy roster, though.
I would love a full-strength 49ers team going into the Seattle game, just to see what these two teams would become.
Let me ask you, despite the injuries to the 49ers, what's their blueprint to beat the Seahawks?
Don't let Sam Darnold get comfortable. You simply can't. And you really cannot let Kenneth Walker get going. Mm-hmm. You have to stop him early. You have to stop that offense early. And when it comes to your offense, you really have to trust in Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey to get downfield. The absence of George Kittle is going to be felt immediately, but you need to be able to look within your receivers and in your depth chart to find someone else to be the answer.
Mm-hmm. No, it's well said. If there's any coach that's able to do that, it's Kyle Shanahan. And I think that it's great to see Kyle Shanahan now have that young franchise quarterback in Brock Purdy. Because last week, despite having an ugly game, he was the reason that they won that game against the Eagles. And we've been saying it for a while, man. Like, put some respect on this man's name. Like, he is
this kid's really fucking good.
He's really good, and he's for real. And because we've seen it this year, where the offensive line isn't 100%. The wide receivers aren't 100%. Everyone's battling with injury. But despite that, even Brock Purdy was battling with injury. But when he came back, he provided stability and leadership to that offense where, we totally forgot that the 49ers are contending. Here's Week 18, and they have a chance to fucking have home field advantage.
But at the same time, again, let's give our hats off to when Brock Purdy was hurt. Mac Jones was winning football games.
That is true. That's very true.
So hats off to Kyle Shanahan to bring Mac Jones in off the bench to win football games and look good in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So the Niners are no worse off when Kyle Shanahan is in the room. He has found somewhere to stay. I hope he, again, finds a way to keep his team more conditioned for the playoffs moving forward.
Yeah, I hope so too. because part of me thinks that this isn't going to be the only time that we see the 49ers and Seahawks within the coming years. Some part of me tells me that this rivalry from roughly 10 years ago
Is starting to
can be
reawaken. You get that
it's
feeling
starting to
too.
reawaken. Yeah, because you have the 49ers are juggernauts, absolute juggernauts. And Seattle has proven that they can be juggernauts because we saw it this year. And for these two teams to have high stakes games, to really compete for all the glory, this is going to be something that's going to be great to see in the coming years. Much like with, like, say, the Bears and the Packers. Now with Matt LaFleur, Ben Johnson. So this is going to be another great rivalry game. I'm excited for it. CP, who you got?
You're going to have to give me Seattle. Seattle at home. They're the healthier team. Yeah, you're going to have to give me Seattle.
I respect it. I, too, am going to go Seattle. I think that, again, the injuries catches up to you. And it's a familiar foe. They just played 2 weeks ago. So they're going to have a great understanding of who they are. But going to Seattle against that 12th man, 8 o'clock at night.
In the cold, wet.
In the cold, with a well-rested Seahawks team who has nothing but great young talent on defense and a quarterback that is emerging as one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. Yeah, it's going to be a tall order for the 49ers. So I'll go with Seattle on this one. But again, I think that this rivalry, it's just getting started again.
I love it.
Shit. So 2 games down, 2 to go. Let's go to New England, where we have the Houston Texans coming to play the New England Patriots. This is going to be a good one. CP, what are your thoughts on this one?
Now that it's the divisional round of the playoffs and the Patriots are still here, can people please start taking them seriously? Please. It's wild to me that people do not take this team seriously. With how I understand it was a low-scoring game in the wild card round, but they dismantled that Chargers offense defensively. Absolutely tore them apart. And although they only put 16 points up on the board, Drake May undressed that defense all night when it comes to passes. Made them look like children. The Patriots are for real, but at the same time, Houston has decided to hit its stride at the perfect time to the point where they are one of the most dangerous teams on this bracket. I fucking love this game. This divisional round is unbelievable.
I know, fantastic matchups.
This is one of the greatest playoff brackets I've seen in years because there's no clear-cut winner in any game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's
you can lean towards one side, but there's really no clear-cut winner on any game.
Which makes it just so unpredictable, right? Where anything could happen, right? It's great to see because every game is new, every game is fresh. It's not like we see the Chiefs as we've been seeing in years past. We're not seeing the Ravens. We're seeing a lot of young teams. No Eagles, that's right. We're seeing a lot of young teams emerge. And New England is that team this year. 3 years ago, was the Texans. The Texans emerged with C.J. Stroud and DeMeco Ryans. Now, has it been all sunshine and rainbows for Houston since then? No, but they still find themselves in playoff contention and at least one of the final 4 teams there. And I wouldn't be surprised going forward that we start seeing the Patriots in this position, reaching the divisional round, potentially going to an AFC title game because of just how well this team is constructed. This team is led by Mike Vrabel and is led by Drake May, who is, again, extremely efficient. And, again, potential MVP. He's, if not the MVP, then second for MVP voting this year. And that's nothing to sniff at. That is great. I think this is a great matchup because this is, for the Patriots, again, this is going to be a tough gauntlet for them in this playoff series. This is going to be their hardest game of the season because of just how well this defense is. Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter combining for 27 sacks this season, incredible. It is going to be so hard for this Patriots team because we just saw them tear up that Steelers offense. Now, granted, is the Steelers
Chargers.
No, I'm talking the
Houston.
The Texans defense. Yeah, Houston's defense.
Oh, my bad. I got crossed off for a second. I thought you were talking about the Patriots.
No, you're good. But we saw them dismantle that Steelers offense. Now, again, is the Steelers offense as put together as the Patriots offense? No. So do I expect the defense, to score 12 points this game off turnovers? Probably not. But it's going to be very hard for Drake May to move the ball up and down the field. Not saying that he can't do it, but despite last week and being extremely efficient on his throws, he did look a little shaky in his first playoff game. Now, maybe that's just playoff jitters. That's fine. But the one play that concerned me was when the game was coming to an end and they were about to ice it, he fumbled. And at the very, very end, and it was, you can't make those mistakes. Because if this is a one-score game, that fumble means everything. And fortunately, they didn't really suffer any consequences to that. No harm, no foul. But the Texans are a better team than the Chargers. And despite their offense, what?
I said that part. Houston is much better.
Absolutely. And can CJ Stroud and this offense be a little inept at times? Absolutely. We saw it last week against the Steelers where they only put up 7 points and that was it for 3 quarters. But again, this defense is up there just as good as the Broncos, if not better in some metrics. But this Denver defense and this Houston defense. I don't think anyone wants to come across these two defenses because of just how great they are. But for Drake May, this is going to be his hardest game, but I think he's up for the challenge.
I think he's ready for this game. I think this team is ready for an absolute 10-round fistfight. And I think Houston is at the exact same time.
It's going to be fantastic. And to think that either the Patriots and Drake May make it to the AFC title game, which would be incredible to see from the turnaround that they had last year, from being a bottom 5 team last year to the number 2 seed and potentially going to the Super Bowl. Impressive turnaround. And again, another coach that deserves to be talked about for Coach of the Year. You could put Mike Vrabel in there as well. You could have a list of 10 coaches and they'd all be justified. But again, Mike Vrabel deserves a lot of credit because of just able to get the best out of his players. And that's what we see time and time again with these coaches. And again, shout out to D'Amico Ryan too for all the ineptitude that there is on offense. This game is won 10 games straight.
Correct.
This team started 3-4, and they ended the season on a 10-game win streak. They are on fire right now. And going into this game with all the momentum, Houston's saying to themselves, why not us? Why not us to make it to their first ever AFC title game? That would be great to see.
Especially on a win streak like that. That'd be unbelievable.
It would be phenomenal, man. But big absence in Nico Collins getting hurt. And that's going to really change that game plan for the Texans. Now, they do have Christian Kirk, who's making a lot of plays for last week against the Steelers. But again, Nico Collins, much like Tank Dell was for the Texans, he's another one of those guys where he's
an anchor guy.
He's one of those guys in the locker room where he's at the heart of that locker room.
Oh, is there another delay?
No, I was just kind of waiting for you. There might be a delay. But this game is great. I'm looking forward to this one. Any final thoughts on this one, CP?
No, it's just the more I look at this bracket, it's just the best bracket I've seen in years.
Now, CP, I got to ask you, mate. Does Houston make their first AFC title game, or do the Patriots and Drake May make their first appearance?
Well, the Houston story would be a great story, right? Make it to your first ever AFC title game, and you'd be going in on what would hypothetically be an 11-game win streak. So then let's say you hypothetically win the AFC championship. You head into the Super Bowl on a 12-game win streak. That is a Cinderella story like I've never heard before.
Right?
Unfortunately, the return of the Patriots is too real. It's too real.
Ooh.
Their trip stops in Foxborough.
Man, the Cinderella story comes to an end in Foxborough.
And the reemergence of the Patriots begins.
Damn. That's cold-blooded, CP. Because no one wants to see that. No one wants to see the Patriots back at it again. But here we are.
It's too late. It's too late. It's too late. People didn't want to accept it. And now here we are in the divisional round, and they're going to put down probably the last chance that the Patriots have to be stopped from a Super Bowl at this point in the AFC.
Well, I mean, if the Pats are to win, then they play either the Bills or the Broncos, and
who's
that's
to say
tough either way.
And who's to say they can't get past them, though?
They absolutely can. That's the thing, though. This Patriots team, they excel at complimentary football. And those are the teams that win championships. And we've talked about it time and time again. And you can look at our channel every time we talk about the Super Bowl. It's complementary football.
Mm-hmm.
Teams that play the best, they're the ones that make it and represent their respective conferences. And the Patriots can do that. And it starts with beating this Texans team to do that. And I think they will beat the Texans as well. I think the Patriots are going to beat the Texans.
They have reemerged.
They have reemerged, and it's going to be scary, man. But again, big shout out to Mike Vrabel. Big shout out to Drake May. Also, big shout out to Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback number 0 on the page. He is such a slept-on player that he's starting to get his own island in the secondary. And I think that is a part of the Patriots that is often overlooked, but man, again, great complimentary football. So, CP, you're expecting a Broncos-Patriots AFC title game, and I'm expecting a Bills-Patriots AFC title game.
Yeah.
That should be very interesting, my friend. Which brings us
It's funny how we both see the AFC Championship with the Patriots in it.
That's the thing, though. Like, for me, it's tough because I'm not sure if the Texans are ready to break through just yet. Because despite being on a 10-game win streak and despite having one of the best defenses in the league, they can get got. And again, we kind of saw that last week against the Steelers. We know the strengths and weaknesses of that Steelers defense to that Texans offense. And I think the coaches that are able to scheme up against that Texans offense and against CJ Stroud and really make it difficult for him and establish pressure, I think that's the key to beating this Texans team. But man, I would like to see them make it because that would be a Cinderella story. But the Patriots are known for crushing dreams under any regime.
They made 2 dynasties of it, and it's been 5 years, and they're back.
Now, CP, before we move on to the final game, I just want to give you one stat real quick. So in the time that Tom Brady came into the league, played his entire career, half a decade later, 5 years after that, Patriots sucked, and now they're back to contention under Drake May and Mike Vrabel. In that time frame, the Dolphins have not won a playoff game.
I know. I saw that. I know. You want to hear something just as fucked up?
Give it to me.
The time that Aaron Rodgers has been a Pittsburgh Steeler, he has more division titles than the Cleveland Browns.
That is fucking hilarious. That is fucking hilarious. I love it. Oh my god.
Just let that one marinate for a second.
Just waft it in, Cleveland. Just waft it in.
Y'all been around since 1999.
Mr. Rogers, man. Mr. Rogers.
He came in for a one and done. It was like, I'll take that division. Thank you.
Oh my god. That's too funny.
2 of the funniest stats.
The fact that those are actual real stats are hilarious. Along with the Jets getting 0 interceptions. Just gotta put that out there.
It's the unbreakable record.
The unbreakable record, 0.
Unless they make the league longer in our lifetime, that'll never be broken.
Never. Oh
Ridiculous.
CP, we got one more game. We got the final game for this divisional round. We got the Los Angeles Rams coming to Chicago to play the Bears. This is going to be a great game just right off the jump.
I don't understand why they have this timed at 6:30 and not 8 o'clock. I don't understand it. There should absolutely be a primetime game. And this should be it. This is going to come down to the final drive of the 4th quarter. And it's going to test Caleb Williams and see if he can make a game-winning drive. That's how this game is going to end. It's going to end with Caleb Williams with the ball in his hands having to make a game-winning drive. I see this game playing out as a very high-scoring game, just like the wild card round. And it's going to come down to the 4th quarter. And it's going to be if Caleb Williams can do what Matt Stafford has been doing his entire career.
Just making those 4th quarter comebacks.
Can you make a game-winning drive? Mm-hmm. I think Matt Stafford has 59 of them in his career.
He's got a lot. I don't know the exact number, but he's got a lot. Because there was that one year in Detroit where pretty much every game was a 4th quarter comeback. I think that was like 2016, 2017 or something like that. But he's got a lot. And again, we've seen Caleb right now where if he's got the ball in his hands, late in the fourth quarter, you could trust him to make the right decision and the right throw. And it's been very interesting to see the Bears change from the beginning of the season to where they ended the season. Where
Matt Stafford has 54.
That is disgusting. But
which includes 50 in the regular season and 4 in the playoffs.
Well, one of those was the Super Bowl. I know that. That was great. But yeah, 54 comeback victories. Caleb, you got some catching up to do.
Let's see how he has.
Caleb?
He does not have any this season.
Like fourth quarter comebacks, or like when he has the ball?
How many game-winning drives? He has 4 game-winning drives.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
tied franchise record.
Yep. The one I could think of that's the most fresh was the second time they played the Packers. First time in Soldier Field. So not last week, the couple weeks prior. He threw that in overtime. So there was that game. I kind of agree with you a little bit on how this game looks. I expect a high-scoring game. I think that this should be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be whoever has the ball last. And it may not necessarily be Caleb and the Bears. It could be Matt Stafford and the Rams. But whoever has that ball last, man, that's going to decide fates. A lot of fates. But
it's going to be interesting to see.
Oh, yeah. But as I was saying before, and we talked about this off air, where it's been very interesting to see the Bears change from a great team that's on script in the first quarter and they kind of struggled throughout the rest of the game, where now they're great off-script team, great in the fourth quarter. And it's just kind of been how the story of the season's turned out for them. But again, a lot of that's due to the development of Caleb Williams under Ben Johnson, putting his team in the best place to succeed. And it's great to see. That Rams defense has got to show up, though. They have to show up for this one because otherwise, if you give Caleb a window of opportunity, chances are he's gonna take it.
Yeah, and chances are if he takes it, he's gonna burn you big downfield. But again, that engine on that offense is not Caleb Williams; it's DeAndre Swift. He gets moving, that offense is going to be damn near unstoppable. Mm-hmm. But again, Matt Stafford is so unfazed with how good some offenses are. He will just continue to do his thing and continue to put points up, and he will win the game. Mm-hmm. It's like a mirror match. I haven't said that in a couple of years. This is like a mirror match when it comes to just two teams that can just take it to the fourth quarter and win a game in a game-winning drive.
Mm-hmm. Which makes it unpredictable, right? Where just anything could happen. Anything could happen throughout the course of the game, but depending on how the last 2 minutes shape up, that's going to be what decides it. And we've seen it time and time again before where we've talked about it week in and week out where it's like, it's going to be close. If the wild card round is any indication, this game is definitely going to be very, very close. I hope it's high scoring. I think that both teams have the offense that allows them to play their best football. Again, Bears, a great running team. Rams, prolific passing team. And again, Matt Stafford's probably going to be the MVP. I'd give him my MVP vote because, was it 4,700 yards, 46 touchdowns to 8 interceptions? That's crazy.
Yeah, he played out of his mind.
And,
coming off of a spine injury, too.
Yeah, and a very unlikely comeback for the Rams. And is this team perfect? No, because we've seen them down the stretch struggle. The Rams have a tendency to stall. That's their biggest weakness, is they can go up early, but there's going to be 3 drives back to back to back where they do nothing on offense. And that allows teams to come back. We saw that against the 49ers. We saw that against the Seahawks, especially when they played in Seattle. That's when we saw Sam Darnold make that comeback. And if that's the story of the Rams and they stall out in the third quarter, oh man, you're in trouble. You are absolutely in trouble. But this game, I feel, has a lot of fireworks to it. And it's great to see the class of 2024. Is it 2024 or 2025? Because they were rookies last. Yeah, the class of 2025, Caleb and Drake May. They're really starting to put... Caleb, Drake May, and Bo Nix. Sorry, I got to put respect on this man's name.
And C.J. Stroud.
He was the year before them.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was 24.
24. So.
You're right.
But even still, I mean...
Younger quarterbacks, man.
We got young blood in there. Also, Brock Purdy, he was in C.J. Stroud's
He was in C.J. Stroud's.
Yep. There are actually no. So if I'm not mistaken, it was the year prior because they did draft Trey Lance that same year. So
Correct, Amundo.
was before that. So, but man, Rams, Bears, Chris Palmer, who you got?
This one's tough, man. You know,
This
there's
is
a
very
lot
tough.
of history with both teams. You know, the Bears, they've been waiting for this. Stafford, he does not have much time left on his career. I think I'm going to give it to the future Hall of Famer and give it to the Rams. I think as well as the Bears have played this year, it is unfortunate that they have to play the Rams right now because the Rams are on just a different playing level at this point.
Mm-hmm. You're right, though. This is so hard. I'm going to go with the Rams as well for everything that you said. And look, the Rams they play great complementary football, both offense and defense. Matt Stafford's playing at an MVP level. Puka Nacua is starting to emerge as one of the, if not the best wide receiver in the league. Kyron Williams is underrated running back. Jared Verse, in my opinion, top 10 defensive player currently playing. He's phenomenal. And it's such a tall order for the Bears because for me, I got to give a lot of credit to both the Seahawks and the Bears. They really made me believe in them this year. And I really believe that going forward after this year, both teams are still going to be 10 to 11 win teams in contention in the NFC. And I would love to see that. I just think that the Bears are ahead of schedule. I think that they're just a year ahead of schedule, but man, they have arrived. And it's so great to see them arrive. But man, the Rams are tough competition, no matter how you slice it.
Again, I just think the Bears are in the wrong place at the wrong time. They just simply aren't ready right now. Like you said, they're like a year too fast.
Mm-hmm. But they have arrived. Now,
but
granted,
they're here.
The Bears would have liked the Panthers to be coming to them, but you get the Rams.
That still would have been a good fight.
That would have been a really good one.
Well, there you have it, guys. There's a recap for the week. Divisional round weekend is here. Some of the greatest games, I think, on the bracket are here. You have heard our idea for what we have for AFC NFC Championship. We shall see. Until then, next week, guys, please leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you next week.